is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
In the headlines, several Philippine National Police officials are reportedly rushing to arrest Pastor Abalos of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ. This move is allegedly driven by their personal ambitions to become the next PNP chief. A political commentator has called for an end to the harassment by these ambitious PNP officials. Meanwhile, on Tuesday, during a Senate inquiry, Interior and Local Government Secretary Benjo Abalos faced scrutiny over his indirect acceptance of reward money intended for Pastor Abalos arrest. In other news, China has blamed the Philippines for a recent ship collision in the West Philippine Sea. A Chinese official has stated that the Philippines' actions threaten peace and stability in the South China Sea. In response, the DFA is considering a diplomatic protest against China regarding the incident near Scotter Shoal. While top stories around the globe, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has announced that Israel has accepted a crucial U.S. ceasefire proposal, putting pressure on Hamas to respond. Iran has criticized the U.S. role in the Gaza ceasefire negotiations, calling it unqualified to mediate due to its unwavering support for Israel. I'm Frederico Velloso. Newsline World starts now. Several officials of the Philippine National Police are rushing to arrest Pastor Abalos, according to the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, allegedly due to their personal interests in becoming the next PNP chief. A political commentator has called for an end to the harassment by some ambitious PNP officials. Jason Rubico for the report.
In over 40 years of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ establishment, it is only now that the KOJC has faced government pressure, and that is under the leadership of Ferdinand Marcos Jr.
Hindi po kami naka-experience ng ganito for the past years, for the past administration po. Ngayon lang po, yung panggigipit, pangharas, lahat ng mga injustices, ginagawan po kami ng kaso, ang aming malapaso, ginagawan po ng kaso na wala naman pong mga basihan. Hindi po terorista, hindi po kriminal, pinunilagyan po ng 10 million bounty. At kung mapatay, tinasan pa 30 million po.
KOJC resident minister Carlo Catil stated that the bounty for Pastor Abalos' arrest has been raised, indicating that some officials are competing to arrest the good pastor. He's claiming that the competition between Police Regional Office 11 Director General Nicolas Torre and Davao City Police Office Acting Director Colonel Hansel Marantan is to become the next PNP chief.
So yung mga kapulisan ngayon, mga opisyal sa kapulisan, nag-uunahan. Itong si Manong Torre, si Marantan, nag-uunahan sila. For their personal interest, baka gusto silang maging PNP chief sa susunod, itong kay Marvel na wala namang mga achievement.
Trophy.
So ito yung ginagawa ng trophy si Pastor.
Catil also mentioned that they are using high-tech gadgets like listening devices, telescopes, and thermal scanners to track Pastor Apollo because they are racing against a deadline. And this is before the U.S. presidential elections in November. Despite the ongoing injustices by the Marcos administration against KOJC, Catil reiterated that they will not bow down to this abusive government.
Ito pong sasabihin namin sa buong Kingdom of Jesus Christ at sa wicked government po na ito. We know that the Almighty Father that we are serving in heaven, He will save us. For sure. But in case, whether the God of heaven we are serving will save us or not, we will not bow down to these injustices, to this wicked government. Lalaban po kami sa lahat po ng mga injustices. Yan po ang masasabi namin. Itaga niyo po yan. Patay kung patay, dadanag po ang dugo. Hindi po kami titiklop sa lahat po ng mga injustices na ginagawa po ninyo.
Political commentator Jay Sonsa believes Davao City is filled with fear due to the harassment by some PNP officials. Sonsa has called on the public to end such harassment.
Kung sakali po at gawin nila yung kanilang ninanais gawin ngayon, no? O sa susunod na araw, ako, nanawagan na ako sa mga kapitbahayan ko sa labas sa Davao City na manatiling nakatutok sa SMNI kasi hindi natin papayagan na hindi ito malaman ng buong daigdig. Nakausap din natin yung ibang mga matitinong pulis at ilang mga sundalo. Kaya ngayon, ulit-ulitin natin sa kanila, ngayon ho ang panahon na kakailanganin po natin ang lahat ng puwersa para supilin itong ganitong klase na pandarahas ng iilang ambisyosong mga general sa PNP.
For God and my beloved Philippines, I am Jason Rubrico, SM9 News.
The interference of the Americans is one of the reasons cited by the Kingdom of Jesus Christ for the intense pressure being exerted on Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to arrest Pastor Abalos. A former palace official has also questioned this approach, especially after the Court of Appeals issued a freeze order on KOJC's properties. Let's hear more details from Jade Calabroso.
Bakit ba tayo pumapayag pa na naghihimasok ang mga dayuhang gaya ng mga Amerikano? Lalong-lalo na sa pagbibigay katarungan sa ating mga kababayan.
Yan ang tanong ko muna is jurisdiction.
Just like former President Rodrigo Duterte's stance that only Filipinos should judge their fellow Filipinos, former presidential spokesperson Attorney Harry Roque emphasized the same in Pastor Abalos Kibuloy's case. Pastor Kibuloy is currently facing intense pressure from the Marcos administration, allegedly under American influence. Roque's statement follows the Court of Appeals freeze order requested by the Anti-Money Laundering Council to freeze the accounts and properties of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, particularly those of Pastor Abalos Kibuloy and other individuals, including well-known institutions like the Children's Joy Foundation and SMNI. The legal counsel of the KOJC questions why the court's decision to issue the freeze order is based on accusations against Pastor Apollo in America. They are particularly puzzled as to why even properties unrelated to the accusations are affected by a single complaint. Attorney Dinah Tolentino Fuentes mentioned that this was one of the questions raised during the Court of Appeals hearing.
There were many questions that were asked during the hearing, and I hope that we will be able to satisfactorily answer all the questions that were asked, raise all the questions that need to be raised, including the questions that you are asking here regarding bakit isa lang ang nagrereklamo, and how can it relate to a freeze order for all the properties of the kingdom, Children's Joy Foundation, SMNI, Waxis.
Roque added that such a court move is no small matter, especially since it directly impacts human rights based on unproven accusations.
Huwag po sana nating maliitin itong mga freeze orders na hihingin nila. Dahil lahat po tayo pwede maging biktima dyan. Ang sabi po ng Anti-Money Laundering Council, ng Anti-Money Laundering Law, kinakailangan may predicate crime. So kung walang probable cause sa predicate crime, wala dapat freeze. Kung hindi po nila babasahin ang batas bago mag-freeze order na dapat may predicate crime, yan po yung labag din sa karapatang pantao na due process to property.
Meanwhile, KOJC's resident minister, Brother Carlo Catil, stated that in their 4 decades of service, they have never experienced such harassment, something they attribute to the Marcos Jr. administration's alleged collusion with the Americans, who are believed to be orchestrating the operation against Pastor Apollo.
Ang Kingdom of Jesus Christ, 40 years na po kami. Hindi po kami naka-experience ng ganito for the past years, for the past administration po. Ngayon lang po, yung panggigipit, pangharas, lahat ng mga injustices, ginagawan po kami ng kaso, ang aming malapastor, ginagawan po ng kaso na wala naman pong mga basihan. Saksi po kami dito. Sinusuplayan po sila ng mga high-tech na mga gadget. Biruin mo, mga listening device. Diyan sa harapan, palagi po nakatutok sa amin, mga telescope nila, yung mga thermal scanner nila. Lahat yan puro panggigipit kasi may deadline nga. Before November election sa Amerika. Kasi kung hindi ba naman sira at bangag yung utak mo, bakit mo ipagpalit si pastor na Filipino citizen, na sa iyo yan, presidente ka namin, pagpalit mo doon sa Amerika, in exchange yung binanggit natin kanina.
In connection with this, the plan for America's extraordinary rendition of Pastor Apollo was reiterated. Pastor Apollo had previously revealed this plan against him, which is why he has remained out of the public eye. According to his credible source, the plan is in exchange for a $2 million reward, or over 110 million pesos. A former palace official suggested that this could indeed happen, especially since rendition is legally practiced in America.
dito lang sa Amerika may ganyang jurisprudence. At sila rin nagpauso ng rendition na dahil may mga impormasyon silang kinakailangan, bawal manorture sa kanilang bayan, dadali nila sa lugar na hindi sa Amerika, pero kung saan po pwede mag-torture. Yung nga yung tinatawag na rendition. Ano na bang nangyari sa gobyerno natin? Parang Wild West na tayo. Pwede na tayong pumatay ng tao na presumed innocent until proven otherwise, na magbabayad pa tayo ng napakalaking halaga. Ano nang nangyari sa atin? Hindi na ito sibilisado. Bumabalik tayo sa Neanderthal age. Para tayo mga tao sa kuweba na nagbabayad, nagbibigay ng pabuya para patayin ang tao na presumed innocent. Hindi naman ako nagsasabi na innocent si pastor. Ang nagsabi diyan, saligang batas. Lahat ng tao presumed innocent until proven otherwise.
Meanwhile, political analysts suggest that one of the reasons this is happening to Pastor Apollo is his known alliance with the Dutertes. During the previous administration, the Philippine government stood firm on being independent of American influence. However, under Marcos Jr., the Philippines has become closer to America with an increase in EDCA sites. According to KOJC Executive Secretary Sister Eleanor Cardona, KOJC members can't help but believe that half of the reward money has already been paid, which is why there is such a strong effort to capture Pastor Apollo.
Ang nasa likod nito lahat, ang Amerika, nagkataon lang, yung bagong naging presidente natin, meron din kasi siyang kaso sa Amerika. Kaya, pinagpalit niya ngayon ang aming mahal na pastor doon sa kanilang kaso, sa mga utang nila doon. Napakaraming problema. Pero bakit nakafocus sila sa pastor? Or else, may tinatakpan ba sila? Lahat ng problema natatakpan dahil ito na lang ang palaging nakafocus kay Pastor Apollo Quiboloy. So, ito nga, hindi mamali sa amin, taga Kingdom of Jesus Christ, na maniniwala nga na bayad na sila. Baka kalahati nga. Kasi kalahati nung $2 million ay naibigay na dito. Kaya ang lakas ang loob nila, no, di ba? Di umano. O hindi di umano, talagang nagbigay na sila ng pabuya, nagbigay na sila ng bounty sa ulo ni Pastor.
For God and my beloved Philippines, this has been Jade Calabroso, SMNA News.
The Senate Committee on Finance's hearing on the 2025 budget for the office of the Vice President became heated. Senator Isa Hontiveros accused VP Sara Duterte of politicizing the issue, but the Vice President firmly defended herself against the claims. Here's Jason Rubico with a report.
This briefing on the proposed...
During the Senate Committee on Finance hearing on the proposed 2025 budget for the Office of the Vice President Sara Duterte defended the OVP's programs that will receive the allocated funds. The Department of Budget and Management allocated 2.3 billion pesos for the OVP under the 2025 National Expenditure Program. This came after Riza Hontiveros questioned the OVP's programs, stating that they are similar to existing programs of other government agencies, such as medical and burial assistance, the Magnegosyo Taday Livelihood Program, and the Disaster Relief Program. However, VP Sara argued that these programs address the primary needs of Filipinos seeking assistance from her office.
Totoo po, merong mga ibang local government units at ibang national government agencies na ganito po ang kanilang programa. Pero po, nung ako ay umupo as a Vice President, I took an oath, and doon sa oath, I said that I will do justice to every man. So hindi po kami pwedeng humindi sa mga tao na humihingi ng tulong, lalong-lalo na ay kaparte ng gobyerno ang Office of the Vice President.
Hontiveros asked if it would be acceptable to allocate the OVP's requested budget to the line agencies and let VP Sara's office request funding from them instead. The Vice President responded by questioning why financial assistance was being politicized. She cited as an example the OVP's endorsements for the Assistance to Individuals in Crisis Situations, or AICS, program under the Department of Social Welfare and Development.
Kapag meron po kaming nire-refer o binibigyan ng endorsement ng AIC sa DSWD, kadalasan po nasagot sa amin ay hindi pwede dahil galing yan sa Office of the Vice President at kalaban yan. Minsan po, totoo yan na pupolitika ang assistance para sa ating mga kababayan. And so I go back to the oath that I shall do justice to every man, at kaya po kami nandito at kaya po kami merong mga ganito na mga projects sa Office of the Vice President.
VP Sara also accused Hontiveros of politicizing the OVP's proposed budget because the senator wanted to move the OVP's requested budget to other government agencies. The vice president linked this to Hontiveros' recent statement at the Akbayan Congress, where the senator said that as long as VP Sara is in office, the threat of the Duterte family returning to power remains. Hontiveros also questioned the budget allocated by the OVP for books written by VP Sara, which would be distributed to students along with backpacks containing school supplies and dental kits.
This is an example of politicizing the budget hearing through the questions of a senator. Ang problema niya kasi, nakalagay yung pangalan ko doon sa libro. At yung libro na yan, ibibigay namin doon sa mga bata. At yung mga bata na yan, may mga magulang na boboto. At yung pangalan ko ay nagkalat doon sa kung saan man ibibigay yung libro.
Senator Hontiveros did not appreciate VP Sara's response, saying she did not understand the vice president's attitude, a point VP Duterte returned to the senator.
Hindi ko rin maintindihan ang ugali ni Senator Risa Hontiveros, and I do not appreciate, ano yung sinabi niya? I do not appreciate this kind of behavior and attitude.
VP Sara recalled how Hontiveros sought her help during her 2016 Senate campaign, where VP Inday even requested a congressman's support for the senator.
Nanalo na siya, at nung nanalo siya, anong ginawa niya? Siya ang pinakaunang umatake kay President Rodrigo Duterte. Anong tawag sa ugaling ganito?
Despite Hontiveros' clear politicization, the Senate Committee on Finance approved the proposed 2025 budget for the Office of the Vice President, and it will now be submitted to the plenary. For God and my beloved Philippines, I am Jason Rubico, SMNI News.
Meanwhile, Interior and Local Government Secretary Benjo Abalos is under scrutiny for accepting indirectly the reward money intended for Pastor Abalos Sikibuloy of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ. Carlo de la Peña reports.
Interior and Local Government Secretary Benjo Abalos faces criticism over the issue of allegedly accepting reward money from private individuals. During a Senate hearing on Tuesday, KOJC legal counsel attorney Israelito Torion clarified why the 10 million pesos reward imposed by Abalos on Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy is problematic. The question is not whether the reward is legal, but rather its source and the appropriateness of a public official accepting it. According to DOJ Undersecretary Nicolas Felix T., there is no legal distinction regarding the source of reward money.
How about the source of the reward? Legal ba na manggagaling sa mga private individuals or it should come from government funds?
Wala namang distinction sa mga batas natin sa source, no, sa source ng pera na magagamit bilang pabuya. At kumbaga ang mga pribadong mamamayan may role din sila sa ating justice sector.
However, Attorney Torion argues that Abalos' indirect acceptance of the reward violates Republic Act 6713, the Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for Public Officials.
But he clarified it today that he did not receive the award yet. But if we read the law, Your Honor, the clear letters of the law state public officials and employees shall not solicit or accept directly or indirectly. So even indirect acceptance, therefore, Your Honor, is covered within the great prohibition under Section 7D.
Torion also pointed out that Abalos' consideration of a private reward offers amounts to giving a favor, which is prohibited under the Code of Ethics for Public Officials. The situation is aggravated as Abalos heads an agency responsible for law enforcement.
Therefore, he should have high moral as well as legal ethics to refuse such favor, Your Honor, directly or indirectly, because public office is a public trust. Any air of suspicion must be prevented, Your Honor.
Torion noted that even the PNP did not offer a reward for Pastor Apollo as it did not meet the parameters set by the National Police Commission for rewards.
Why, Your Honor? Because they have their own NAPOLCOM memorandum circulars as to what are the requisites before you can put up an award. That is NAPOLCOM Memorandum Circular 2019 as amended by NAPOLCOM Circular number 2021, Your Honor.
Torion emphasized that the process and regulations for imposing a reward are lengthy, making him raise the question on why Abalos acted so quickly in this case. Abalos, however, seemed to misunderstand Torion's claim of indirect acceptance of the reward money. He contended that he has not received any money and never solicited it.
Ngayon, number one, ako po ay hindi nag-solicit. Never ako nag-solicit. At hanggang ngayon, wala ako natatanggap ni 5. Pangalawa, napakaklaro ng sinabi ng Department of Justice. Andito ngayon ang DOJ. Pagdating sa batas, dapat tignan natin ang sinasabi ng Department of Justice at klarong-klaro ang sinasabi ni Yusek Nicolas Felix T. tungkol dito.
Abalos sought further clarification from the Department of Justice, prompting additional explanations from Attorney Torion.
The problem with this explanation is not it only covers one half of the law. What is prohibited, Your Honor, is that public officials and employees shall not solicit or accept directly or indirectly. The fact that he announced it, Your Honor, even if we say that he did not physically accept the money, but offering the word is already an indirect acceptance of that favor, Your Honor. So therefore, it is covered by the law. And being a high officer of the government, he should have exercised the becoming modesty.
For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, this has been Carlo de la Peña, SMNI News.
In the meantime, the acting chief of Davao City Police met his match in the Senate after the local police were called out for wearing face masks during operations. Here's the response from the DCPO acting chief and the DILG in this report by MJ Mondehar.
Wearing face masks seems to have become the new normal for police officers in Davao City, especially during patrols or even checkpoint operations outside the religious compounds of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ or KOJC. Aside from the face mask, it was also noticeable that the officers were not wearing nameplates. The plates on their vehicles were also deliberately concealed. All of these complaints have reached the Senate. Thus, during the hearing of the Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs, the chairman, Senator Ronald De La Rosa himself, called this out.
They're not doing illegal, but they're just doing, to tell you frankly, improperly yung ginagawa nila.
Senator De La Rosa had just returned from Davao City last week and he personally witnessed the actions of the police, especially outside the KOJC religious compound. The senator even questioned one of the patrolmen at the checkpoint as to why their faces were covered and why they were not wearing nameplates. But the officer had no reasonable answer.
Bakit mag-checkpoint ka, palagi naka-mask, kailangan, tapos hindi makita yung pangalan? Yun lang sa akin. We must be friendly, Hansel. You must be friendly to the people.
Present at the Senate probe into the violent junta operations of the PNP at the KOJC compound was the acting chief of the Davao City Police Office, Police Colonel Hansel Marantan. However, his defense of the police did not sit well with Senator De La Rosa.
Konting ano lang, Your Honor, konting consideration lang with the policemen. Kasi they've been there, exposed to the pollution of the... Don't tell me that... you don't tell me that reason. Alikabok. Alikabok, nakamask kayo. Kayo lahat nakamask palagi, 24/7. Pag nag-checkpoint, that's very... Hindi ko matanggap yung rason mo na yan.
Senator De La Rosa spent almost half of his life as a police officer. Marantan met his match in De La Rosa, who was once their PNP chief.
Is it part of the uniform? No.
Your Honor, I'm telling the truth, Your Honor. That's why I'm here. But
wag mo akong sabihan. Nag-checkpoint rin ako ng... Yung dinaanan nyo ngayon, dinaanan ko rin yan. I'm just wondering bakit lahat ng police ay nakamas, which is very intimidating.
De La Rosa then clarified that he is not preventing the PNP from doing their job, particularly their operations at KOJC. But for the former PNP chief, what the police are doing is not helpful to the residents of Davao City.
Ano bang nakamas palagi, di ba? Yung mga may gagawing masama. Wala silang ginagawang masama. Pero ang dating, kasi po lagi nagaganon, talaga intimidating sa tao. At kinausap pa, ayaw sumagot.
Meanwhile, Secretary Abalos, although believed to be one of those directing the PNP's actions against KOJC, promised to address the complaints against the abusive police officers.
Mr. Chair, I will assure you, mamaya nga po, I will talk with the chief and make sure bukas na bukas lahat po walang mask po yan. And to make sure yung protocols like the name ay properly mailagay po. I assure you that, Mr. Chair.
For Government of Philippines, MJ Mondihal, SMNI News.
The number of pigs testing positive for African swine fever has increased after being intercepted by the Bureau of Animal Industry personnel in Quezon City. Let's hear more from Sheena Torno.
Some pigs which were weak and had rashes on their bodies were being transported in a truck that was set to leave Metro Manila. However, they were stopped by the Bureau of Animal Industry or BAI personnel at a checkpoint in Malanday, Valenzuela. The agency also discovered that the truck drivers used recycled local shipping permits. According to a report from BAI, 11 pigs were found to have symptoms of African swine fever or ASF following an inspection by the agency. The Department of Agriculture sees a reason why industry players are still transporting pigs with ASF.
Marami talaga yung gusto na ibenta rin yung baboy nila dahil wala silang options. Kung mamamatay din lang, ibebenta nila.
The ASF-positive pigs were immediately condemned and buried at BAI Central Burial Site as part of efforts to prevent the spread of the disease. Meanwhile, 38 pigs intercepted at Mindanao Avenue last Monday night, August 19, tested negative for ASF. For the agency, the repeated interceptions of ASF-positive pigs are alarming.
Sa ngayon kasi, ikukumpara mo rin, mas dumadami rin kasi ngayon yung tinatawag natin na surveillance testing ng ASF. So, nagiging aktibo rin tayo doon sa pagsusuri. At maganda rin ito na nakikita natin na talagang yung mga areas na may ASF, ay makita talaga natin na ASF talaga. Kaysa yung walang testing, tapos meron palang ASF, patuloy lalo nakakalit.
To recall, more than 140 pigs were also intercepted at checkpoints in Quezon City and confirmed to have ASF. As a result, the National Meat Inspection Service, or NMIS, is now monitoring the entry and exit of pigs at slaughterhouses, cold storage facilities, meat cutting plants, and distribution centers in Metro Manila. Meanwhile, Department of Agriculture has conducted an orientation for over 160 small hog raisers in Lobo, Batangas, Tuesday, August 20. Bureau of Animal Industry and Department of Agriculture have outlined procedures for the actual controlled vaccination in September for pigs aged 8 to 10 weeks.
Gagawin ng BAI at saka ng lokal na pamahalaan yung pinakamabilis na paraan according to the established criteria, rules and procedures. Again, for the safety and efficacy ng bakuna. Ready yung area kasi kailangan masigurado natin na yung mga lugar na pagdadausan ng bakunahan, yung mga farms ay ready to accept the vaccine at yung mga baboy ay healthy.
Currently, African swine fever cases remain in 10 areas in Batangas province. Meanwhile, more than 440 barangays across the country are still actively dealing with ASF cases. For God and for my beloved Philippines, this has been Sheena Torno, SMNI News.
Up next, Israel has intensified its offense in Lebanon, killing a key Hezbollah commander and targeting weapons storage facilities. And tensions on the Korean peninsula. North Korea has issued a stern warning to the United States, accusing of rehearsing for an armed conflict through its ongoing military exercises with South Korea. More news when Newsline World returns.
Abangan ng Banateros tuwing Lunes hanggang Huwebes, live dito lang sa SMNI.
Yan ang banatero, walang inuurungan. Pag tama palakpakan, pag mali ay babanatan. Yan ang banatero.
Sabi nga nila, di ba? You will know them by their love. Yun ang sinabi sa Biblia. It's not on how good you are in quoting the scripture. It's giving love.
Grabe, hindi talaga hindi talaga kasya yung words eh. Kung paano natin i-express yung ating na-experience.
Mismo wala akong masabi. Kita ko kasi yung pagiging generous. Alam mo, madali kasi magsalita ng Diyos eh. Pero pagdating sa pera, pagdating sa pagiging generous, yung pagtulong sa iba, hindi biro yun. Maraming bagsak dyan. Maraming bagsak. Kaya ako nakikita ko yung pagiging generous niya. Hindi sa salita eh. Sa lakad. Bilib ako. Hindi dakda. Nakita mo sa gawa. In one word, authentic.
Children will grow up and bring the joy, the love, the peace, and compassion to the whole world. We only have one planet. We only have one Earth. And I hope that this new generation of children that we have reached out will become millions and billions and bring peace on Earth. Bring peace to humanity. anything that tries your faith and puts you on the spot of deciding whether to continue or to stop is a fire. Whether it is persecution, whether it is loved ones, family, anything that will try your faith, whether to continue or to stop or to overcome or draw back, it is called fire. Now, salvation is based upon our building up on the foundation. Whether silver, gold, stubble, precious stones. That means if it is gold, then it's genuine. It can go through the fire, but it will stay. When your confession of commitment and dedication is not true, when the fire goes through you, you will be burned. That's why I love my ministry. Because all of those that are able to overcome are certified 100% pure gold. Pure gold. Hypocrites have no place in the kingdom nation. Pretenders have no place in the kingdom nation. Plastics don't have place in the kingdom nation. Why? Because before we can be ushered into the new world, we should be tried by fire. Kanang inyong mga cellphone, pagbantay mo sa inyong mga isultihan ta na mo sa una. Pornography is a spiritual adultery. Kanang pornography, labaw pa na sa shabu. Magdaot imong uto ka na, labi na kung ikaw niya ka sa kingdom ministry, pahingon taglangit, mo na imong kalaban. Because it will destroy everything that was implanted to you spiritually that will let you go to heaven. Pornography is the number one missile of the enemy that will destroy you and your soul to hell. Ayaw jud mo pagtanaw pornography, babaeng lalaki sa inyo. What is dangerous now with cell phones? You can go into the privacy of your room and look at your cell phone without anyone. Only God knows what are you looking at. And mostly, people go to the dark side of the door going to destruction to hell. And that is pornography. It destroys the mind. It destroys the soul. It destroys your spirit.
Kung akong tatanungin, kahit saang aspeto, gusto ko garantisado. Metikuloso akong tao, kaya gusto ko lahat maayos at sigurado. Lahat quality, yung hindi ako makukompromiso pero sulit ang presyo. Ganyan ang clean fuel, kaya dito panatag ang loob ko.
Magandang umaga po, sir. Utang po.
Utang. Gusto mo ng dekalidad na gasolina pero sulit ang halaga, mag-clean fuel ka.
Back in the news, China has blamed the Philippines for the ship collision in the West Philippine Sea. According to a Chinese official, the Philippines' actions are a threat to peace and stability in the South China Sea. Meanwhile, the DFA is considering a diplomatic protest against China concerning the incident near Scottish Shoal. President Katarong has the report.
The Chinese Foreign Ministry has issued a statement regarding the collision between Philippine Coast Guard and Chinese Coast Guard vessels in the West Philippine Sea. In a statement, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning said that on August 19, 2 Philippine maritime vessels entered waters adjacent to Shanbingjiao or Escoda Shoal without authorization from Chinese government. The Philippines allegedly ignored warnings from the China Coast Guard and took dangerous actions by deliberately colliding with a CCG vessel. The Chinese official emphasized that Shanbingjiao, also known as Escoda Shoal, is part of China's territory. China accused the Philippines of sending Coast Guard vessels into Escoda Shoal waters in an attempt to supply a PCG vessel stationed in the area. The official added that the Philippines' actions seriously violate China's sovereignty, breach the declaration on the conduct of parties in the South China Sea, and threaten peace and stability in the South China Sea. China strongly opposes these actions and will continue to take resolute measures to safeguard its territorial sovereignty and maritime rights and interests. The Chinese official also stated that the CCG's actions were in accordance with domestic and international law. Meanwhile, the Department of Foreign Affairs is considering a diplomatic protest against China regarding the incident at Escoda Shoal on Monday. In a press briefing at Malacanang, Vice Admiral Alexander Lopez Jr., spokesperson for the National Maritime Council, stated that the move aligns with the Philippines' goal to pursue a peaceful resolution to the issue.
One of those options that we are considering, as you all know, in any activities naman in the past, our Department of Foreign Affairs will probably file a diplomatic protest or not verbal, and this is seriously being studied by the Department of Foreign Affairs.
On the Philippine side, Lopez stated that Chinese Coast Guard vessels collided with and damaged 2 PCG vessels around Escoda Shoal. However, Lopez emphasized that the Philippines remains focused on resolving the issue peacefully through diplomatic channels and adhering to international agreements.
Kasi if we would be going beyond diplomatic or peaceful approach, you can just imagine, maybe if you're referring to more kinetic actions, that would not be to the best interest of our country and of China and even in the region. So we're looking at...
The official also mentioned that the DFA is considering attending its provisional agreement with China to cover more than the Philippine Exclusive Economic Zone. Forgotten for my beloved Philippines. This has been Cresceline Catarong, SMNI News.
The Philippine Bureau of Immigration believes that the exit of former Bambam Mayor Alice Guo from the Philippines is illegal based on intelligence reports. But for a former chief presidential legal counsel, it's not illegal. Let's find out more with Sara Santos.
A lot of people are wondering, where is dismissed Bamban Tarlac Mayor Alice Guo? It's all over the news that she has left the Philippines, even with an immigration lookout bulletin order on her. But for USEC Nicholas Felix T. of the Philippine Department of Justice on Monday, Guo is apparently still in the Philippines. However, on Tuesday, the Philippine Bureau of Immigration, or BI, and the Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission, or PAOC, confirmed that the former mayor is no longer in the country. According to the BI, Guo is currently in Indonesia. From the beginning of the investigation on Guo, former Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Attorney Salvador Panelo already predicted that there will come a time Guo will refuse to show herself in public. He says it's possible that this is what the former mayor will do, just like those who were not treated fairly by the government.
Sabi ko, yung si Alice Guo magiging si Alice Ganyan, Gan. Kasi nga, ang feeling niya, wala pang kaso sa kanya. Ina-trial na by publicity siya, himiya na siya, yung isang senador dyan, at ang isa pang senador. Walang kalaban-laban eh. Talagang napamuka at nailarawan na guilty na kagad. Kaya sabi natin, hindi tayo magtataka, hindi ito susuko. Pareho yan ang ginawa ni Baritag, Tebes, at ni Pastor, ni Buloy. O, yan nga nangyari.
The Philippine Bureau of Immigration believes Guo left the country illegally, but Attorney Panelo stressed that her exit was legal.
Sinasabi nila na illegal daw na nakalabas. Paano magiging illegal? Merong passport, merong record sa diyan sa immigration, sa airport na nakalabas. Ibig sabihin illegal na nakalabas yan, Yan tinulungan siguro ng mga nagsimpatiya sa kanya. Whether pinayaran o hindi. The fact is, illegal ang paglabas niya. Dahil recorded
Meanwhile, it appears that government officials, including Risa Hontiveros, are now losing their patience with Go.
Huwag kang maiinis because ikaw ang dahilan ng pagkawala ni Alice Go. Kung hindi nyo trial by publicity yan, yung mga paraan ng pagtatanong mo ay talagang hiniya mo, kinalkal mo ang buhay, siniraan mo, hindi yan aalis dahil may abogado naman. Meron naman silang sinasabing meron silang ebidensya. Ang problema nga, siniraan nyo ng siniraan
Aside from Hontiveros, this was Panelo's message for other senators.
Huwag yung gagayahin yung mga nagbubuli dyan. Naubod ng yayabang, wala naman. Kulang naman dito.
Meanwhile, the Bureau of Immigration is now monitoring Go's movements to determine the individuals behind her departure from the Philippines. The agency is also not excluding the possibility that some of its officials may have helped the former mayor. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, this has been Saro Santos, SMNI News.
Meanwhile, the Department of Justice has ordered an investigation following the alleged illegal departure of former Bamban Tarlac Mayor Alice Go from the Philippines. Meanwhile, the notary public where Alice Go took an oath is set to submit an affidavit to the DOJ to confirm that the former mayor appeared before him last week for the filing of her counter-affidavit. Margo Gonzalez reports.
It was revealed in the Senate that former Banban Tarlac Mayor Alice Go already left the country, as confirmed by the Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission and the Bureau of Immigration or BI. According to foreign records, Go arrived in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia from Denpasar, Indonesia on July 18, reached Singapore from Kuala Lumpur on July 21, and arrived in Batam, Indonesia from Singapore by ferry on August 18. According to the BI, Go's departure from the country was illegal as she did not go through the required airport or seaport procedures. Immigration Commissioner Norman Tencinco stated that Go, whose real name is Go Waping, illegally traveled to Malaysia in July. She already illegally left Malaysia and flew to Singapore with her siblings Sheila Lial Go and Wesley Lial Go on July 21. Tencinco clarified that Go's departure was not recorded in the BI centralized database despite the existence of a lookout bulletin order issued for her. The Department of Justice has ordered an investigation into how the former mayor left the country. Those who assisted or participated in Go's illegal departure will be held accountable. DOJ has also directed Tencinco to provide an immediate report and warned BI officers who might be accomplices of the former mayor. A warning was also issued to Go's camp and legal counsels, suggesting they may be involved in her departure. Meanwhile, the DOJ has requested a statement from Attorney Elmer Galicia, the notary public where Go took her oath. Last week, Go filed a counter-affidavit with the DOJ, which included the notary's documentation. It is reported that Galicia met with Go on August 14 at his office in Bulacan. Prosecutors expect Galicia's affidavit to detail the events during his meeting with the former mayor, which will be reviewed by the prosecutors.
It appears that on August 14, 2024, at around 7 o'clock p.m., nung dumating siya sa opisina, nandun na isang Land Cruiser, on board is Miss Alice Go. May nag-arrange sa kanya na may pupunta daw para magpanotaryo. And nakausap sila ni Alice Go dun sa baba ng kanyang opisina, nakita niya. At nagpresenta ng driver's license si supposedly Alice Go sa kanya. And then he notarized the counter-affidavit which was due to be submitted to the DOJ for preliminary investigation.
Kasi kami hearsay lang kami, wala naman kami dun eh. Diba? So let him document whatever he wants to say and then tingnan natin.
Galicia was approached by the media for an interview but avoided commenting or answering questions. It is expected that Galicia will submit his affidavit to the DOJ tomorrow. For God and beloved Philippines, this has been Margo Gonzalez, SMNI News.
Missing scissors at a new Chitose airport in Japan led to flight cancellations and delays, causing major disruptions over the weekend. Guy Sato has the report.
A pair of missing Caesars caused significant disruptions at Hokkaido's Nuchitose Airport over the weekend. On August 17th, flights were suspended for about 2 hours on Saturday morning as security checks were halted due to the missing item. The Caesars, which were misplaced near the boarding gates, led to the cancellation of 36 flights and delays for another 201 flights. Passengers who had already cleared security were forced to go through the screening process again, causing confusion and delays. Normal flight operations resumed later on Saturday after extensive security measures. The missing Caesars were found on Sunday by a store worker. The discovery was announced on August 19th after confirming the Caesars were indeed the ones reported missing. Hokkaido Airport, which operates New Chitose, acknowledged the issue and attributed it to insufficient storage and management systems. The Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Transport and Tourism has requested an investigation into the incident. New Chitose Airport is one of Japan's busiest, serving the high-traffic Tokyo-Sapporo route. Over 15 million passengers used the airport in 2022. Reporting from Tokyo, Japan, this has been Guy Saito for God in my beloved country, the Philippines.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken announces that Israel has accepted a crucial U.S. ceasefire proposal, putting the burden on Hamas to respond. On Monday, Secretary of State Antony Blinken revealed that Israel has accepted a U.S. proposal aimed at resolving differences with Hamas and securing a ceasefire. Following a lengthy meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem, Blinken described that this is a pivotal moment, urging Hamas to also agree to the terms. While Netanyahu confirmed Israel's acceptance and commitment to the proposal, Hamas officials have voiced concerns about new Israeli conditions and the lack of progress during the recent negotiations in Doha. Netanyahu, focusing on broader regional issues, praised U.S. efforts against Iranian influence while reaffirming Israel's dedication to the proposal. The negotiations are set to resume in Egypt this week. As the international community watches closely, the urgency of reaching a deal has increased amid escalating regional tensions and recent violent incidents involving Iran and Hezbollah. Tensions on the Korean Peninsula are escalating as North Korea issues a stern warning to the United States, accusing it of rehearsing for an armed conflict through its ongoing military exercises with South Korea. The statement from the Pyongyang highlights the potential for these activities to spiral into a nuclear confrontation. Kim Sang tells us more.
North Korea has once again sounded the alarm over what it views as provocative military exercises between the United States and South Korea. Pyongyang's foreign ministry released a statement condemning the annual joint drills, which began on Monday under the codename Ulchi Freedom Shield. The North Korean government labeled these exercises as a prelude to a nuclear war, criticizing the large-scale simulations, including those mimicking nuclear confrontations with the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. The U.S. and South Korea initiated these drills to enhance their defense readiness against the growing threats from North Korea. Running through August 29th, the exercises will include more than 40 types of field operations, simulating scenarios such as missile attacks, GPS jamming, and cyber attacks. Pyongyang argues that these activities resemble the steps historically taken by nations preparing for war, even accusing the two allies of practicing a beheading operation targeting the regime of Kim Jong-un. Since the establishment of this consultative group in 2023, U.S. nuclear ballistic missile submarines have been deployed to South Korean waters, further heightening tensions. North Korea has repeatedly warned that such moves could lead to conditions that justify the use of nuclear weapons. Reporting from South Korea, this is Kim Sung, your global citizen correspondent. For God in our beloved country, the Philippines.
Thai opposition leader criticizes Thai court interventions for deepening the country's political turmoil as he faces a 10-year ban and eyes a political comeback. Chat Monggon Pisamagozon reports.
Pita Limjalanrat, former leader of the dissolved Move Forward Party, is calling for judicial reforms in Thailand. He accuses the courts of intensifying political instability following rulings that dissolve his party and remove Prime Minister Sethata Thavisin from office. Pita, now facing a 10-year political ban, argues that These court interventions are trapping the nation in a cycle of unrest. He plans to return to Howard University as a democracy fellow but remains committed to reforming institutions, including the judiciary, to prevent further politicization. Despite these setbacks, political movements persist. The Move Forward Party has been replaced by the People's Party, while a new coalition led by Pheu Thai Party supports Paetongtarn Shinawatra, who has been endorsed by the king as the new prime minister. Reporting from Thailand, I'm Chatmongkol Bisamaikoson, your Global Citizens correspondent for SM9 News Channel.
Iran has criticized the U.S. role in the Gaza ceasefire negotiations, labeling it as unqualified to mediate due to its unwavering support for Israel. Melchizedek Cadiz reports.
Iran has voiced concerns about the U.S. as a mediator in Gaza ceasefire negotiations, stating that its close ties with Israel make it unsuitable for the role. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman Nasser Kanani made this statement during a press conference in Tehran on Monday. He urged that the U.S. cannot be neutral in the ongoing conflict between Palestine and Israel due to its strong alliance with Israel.
دولت آمریکا همواره یکی از حامیان تمام عیار و به عبارتی حامی همه جانبه رژیم صهیونیستی و متحد و همپیمان دائمی این رژیم غاصب و جنایتکار بوده. رژیم آمریکا بارها و بارها اعلام کرده که به امنیت رژیم اسرائیل متعهد هست. اساساً آمریکا تا الان اثبات کرده که یک طرف جنگ و منازعه و ادامه کشتار و نه یک طرف صالح برای ایجاد آتش بس هست.
Kanani further addressed the recent assassination of former Hamas Politburo chief Ismail Haniyeh, emphasizing that Iran's response to Israel's actions and the broader Gaza ceasefire are distinct matters. He reiterated that Israel's continued airstrikes on Gaza are evidence of its reluctance to pursue peace.
به دوستان خود در واقع گفتیم که ما به دنبال تشدید تنش در منطقه نیستیم. از تلاش‌های توأم با حسن نیت برای برقراری آتش بس حمایت می‌کنیم. در عین حال بر حق ذاتی جمهوری اسلامی ایران در استیفای حقوق خود و تنبیه متجاوز و ایجاد بازدارندگی در مقابل یک رژیم تروریستی تأکید داریم.
Kanani condemned Israel's military operations in Palestine, calling them a threat to peace in the region and beyond. He urged the international community to continue its efforts to stop Israel's actions and criticized the U.S. for exacerbating tensions in the Middle East rather than promoting peace. Reporting from Kuwait, I am Melchizedek Cadiz, your global citizen correspondent for God and for our beloved country, the Philippines.
Israel steps up its offensive in Lebanon, killing a key Hezbollah commander and targeting weapons storage. Grater Omoy tells us more.
Israel has intensified its military campaign against Hezbollah in Lebanon. On Monday, Israeli airstrikes killed a prominent Hezbollah commander, Hossein Ali Hussein, who was part of the group's rocket and missile unit near the Israeli border. Israel also targeted a weapons warehouse in Lebanon's Bekaa Valley, a region with a strong Hezbollah presence. Lebanese authorities confirmed that 8 people were injured in the Bekaa Valley strike, including 2 young Syrian girls. Video circulating online shows the aftermath of the explosion, with reports indicating that an arms depot was hit. Hezbollah later confirmed Hussein's death, identifying him as Hossein Ali Hussein Sulaiman, also known as Malak. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said Monday that Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has agreed to a new Gaza ceasefire proposal. He urged Hamas to do the same. Negotiations are scheduled to continue in Egypt on Wednesday. Reporting from Dubai, I'm Gratero Amor, your global citizen correspondent for SM9 News Channel.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the words of the Son. We cannot repay the Creator. All He needs from us is our gratefulness. That's all for this edition. For more news update, you may visit smnichannel.com or follow us in our official social media accounts on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Regarding country, I'm Frederico Velloso, and this is Newsline World.
This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
Subscribe to SMNI News Channel and turn on the notification bell to keep you up to date. Also visit our official social media accounts and join our community on Viber and Telegram.